Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're the hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every day, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can view all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues that affect you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
All right, we'll call the February 12th, 2025 Police and Fire Commission meeting to order. And our second agenda item is a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3 is approval of minutes from the January 15th, 2025 Police and Fire Commission meeting. Any comments or observations about the draft minutes in the packet?
I move that we approve the minutes from January 15th, 2025 Police and Fire Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, move to agenda item number 4, public appearances. We do not have any in the room or on Zoom. So we'll move to agenda item number 5, which is a report from the fire department. We have closed session, so I'll move that pursuant to section 1985, subsection 1, subsection E, Wisconsin statutes, the commission move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to review and discuss the application scoring of candidates with 3-member panel that was involved in scoring the applications, and to approve the candidates who will be invited to interview on March 5th, 2025.
A second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of entering closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, we are in closed session. Right, we are back from closed session and moving to agenda item 5B. Any action taken on items discussed in closed session?
Yes, motion to move the top 8 candidates for interview for March 5th.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion?
No.
I think we had a good pool of candidates, and thank you to all the people who applied, and looking forward to visiting with some more. All right, all those in favor of accepting the motion to choose the top 8 candidates for the next round of the process, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. All right. Any other action to come out of closed session? Okay. Then we'll move to agenda item 5C, discussion around the process for events on day 1. And Sarah, maybe just do you want to briefly kind of remind us what the current plan is?
Absolutely. So March 5th is going to be day 1 for the fire chief candidates. They'll come in for a 1-hour interview with a professional panel. Then there is a proposed 30-minute meet and greet with the mayor. The mayor is the supervisor for the fire chief. And then also to have a meet and greet, a 30-minute meet and greet with the fire department staff. And all of this will take place here at City Hall. And we've got a nice schedule built in. What I'd like to ask the PFC is just to make sure we are good with that process for that day. I know we've talked a lot about the panel, we've talked about the meet and greet with the fire department, and then the mayor. Chad Brecklin, our city administrator, is the only one that we don't have kind of pegged into a process yet. So what we can do is add a spot for him on Thursday, March 6th for like a one-on-one or a meet and greet with the candidates, so that he's involved in the process too. But otherwise, the original proposed was Chad and Mayor to meet together, but the mayor has asked that she has a one-on-one with the candidates instead, which is the same process that we used for the deputy city administrator, where the mayor met with the candidates one-on-one. So it's not, we've done that plenty of times in the past.
Who was the mayor for the deputy city administrator? Was it?
It was Julia.
And then for the prior processes for police chief, for example?
That was Mayor Richardson.
And then was that meeting with the city administrator at the same time?
When Mayor Richardson was here, it was Chad and Mayor together.
Yeah. So we've talked about this before. I don't think it's a good idea for one person to meet with the candidates. And actually, we just saw this in Dane County, where they have a Department of Health Services process for the leader of the Department of Health Services. That individual met with one supervisor, and I don't know if they met with multiple supervisors, but whatever happened in that meeting with the county supervisor led that candidate to back out. And there's newspaper press about it, there's consternation over it, there's a lack of a candidate, and regardless of which side you come out on, I think it's bad human resources process to have one person meeting with one candidate. You always want two people in a meeting. So there's not a he said, she said kind of situation like is going on at Dane County. So this isn't just me saying this. I know Sean has said this, and Commissioner Baxter has said this. And then we heard it as we were talking to firefighters, frankly. And I just think it's a bad idea for one person to meet with these candidates. I do think Administrator Brecklin should be in the process, and I think it makes sense for he and the mayor to meet together with the candidates.
And I just wanted to point out, Mayor did provide, she wasn't able to be here tonight, but she did provide some comments for the PFC to consider. Would I be able to read that?
Sure.
Okay. As mayor, I strongly believe that conducting one-on-one interviews with fire chief candidates will allow for more direct, strategic, and effective assessment of their leadership capabilities in alignment with my vision for the fire department. My key reasons for this approach include clear alignment with city leadership goals. The fire chief will play a critical role in implementing some significant initiatives, including transitioning to a more full-time fire department model, and potentially bringing EMS in-house. A solo interview ensures I can directly evaluate their commitment and readiness for these changes. Stronger rapport and authentic responses. A one-on-one setting fosters a more open and candid discussion, allowing me to assess their leadership style, decision-making process, and ability to collaborate with city leadership. Focused discussion on critical priorities. As the mayor, I must ensure the selected candidate can work effectively with me. A direct interview allows for a more streamlined assessment, ensuring alignment before proceeding to the final decision-making stages. Finally, I feel that there is a lack of trust in my competencies to perform one-on-one interviews and that I need to have someone with me. Before I became an accountant, I was in charge of the recruitment and hiring process for a credit card company. I worked for in Argentina, which had more than 300 employees at that time. HR was my background. Currently, I am in charge of the hiring process in my department at Wegner CPAs. I have done this job for more than 10 years. Most recently, I performed one-to-one interviews when we hired the city deputy administrator. While I highly value the expertise of the Police and Fire Commission and the city administrator, my feedback in this process stage is also important since I will supervise this person. I can compare notes with the city administrator at a later stage, such as when reviewing final candidates. I'm looking forward to working together to select the best candidate for this important role. So that she just submitted that today.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have any doubt that the mayor could do it. It's not specific to this mayor, a lack of trust or however it was. It's just a process-based thing, I think. And all those reasons to do the individual discussion, talk about critical priorities, stronger rapport, and authentic responses. I don't think there's a loss of any of that if there's the administrator there as well. And it's not, the mayor position is a political position, the administrative position is not a political position. I think that's important too. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. What do you all think?
I think there is some I don't know what word to use, credence for, here is, the senior person in our city who is asking for an opportunity to speak to a person just one-on-one. They will have regular one-on-one meetings once they're hired. And also, the ultimate hiring decision will not rest on this one person. But that is someone who will be reporting to you, and it's important to have that camaraderie between that. And I think if, someone could, I get if it's just one person, this could happen. But, in my career, internal audit, that I've had, I've been chief audit executive, I've had many, many one-on-one interviews with the people who were actually hiring, and a lot of times I reported outward to the board of directors in order to do that. So my regular day-to-day was not lying on one person. And I think, yes, she is a political hire, but she has to work with people on all sides of it, and then that person that's reporting to her. I don't think the harm is as evident as it sounds, and I think if you've given a person and you've been voted in as the highest ranking in the city, if that's a preference of yours, I think we can extend that and make sure the hiring panels, the screening, the rating was not at all political, we didn't know people's names. The way we were asked to do the rubric, I was not even looking at where people worked before, those things. It was like, is it college, not even where the school was, not even some other things that are now we find that's important. So I think we should honor that and honor the leadership capacity of a mayor of this city as the highest ranking person for this. That's my take on it. Given even what you said.
I would honor the same. I would not have a problem with the mayor meeting with the fire chief individually. She will be supervising that person. So her being the mayor of Fitchburg, I'm gonna trust that one-on-one meeting that she has with the candidate.
I like the approach of panel interviewing. I know that there's lots of organizations, and throughout my career I've experienced and even done one-on-one interviews. I think there's a richness that you can get out of an interview that can consist of a panel. So I'd be more in favor of a panel interview. So in other words, another person, maybe a city administrator joining there. But I will say this, I'm a little taken aback by the comment that of suggesting of not having a second person suggests that the commission is saying that the mayor is incompetent or doesn't have the competency to interview alone. And I just want to be clear for the record. That's not my perspective. I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I'm really disappointed that's the take on this. I was tracking along with much of what's in that letter from what the mayor wants to do. I just don't understand why to finish the letter out by saying not wanting a second person to be in those interviews is suggesting that the mayor is not competent. So I just wanted to make that clear.
But the interview, the professional interview, is a panel. The mayor is asking to speak to applicants one-on-one. So that it is a panel interview. So that process is paneled.
Look at the mayors as like a one-on-one, like a meet and greet, not necessarily like a panel interview where her their scoring criteria. It's her chance to have a one-on-one conversation with the candidates, but not on a scored process where like the
She's
panel.
hiring the person.
But what is to hide?
Yeah.
It's just odd to me. I mean, what is gonna be said in a one-on-one meeting that can't be said with Chad Brecklin sitting next to the two of them? To me, that's odd. And for the organizational structure, I assume the chief reports to Chad as well?
There's some oversight by Chad, absolutely, yeah.
So the idea that this is the supervisor is not accurate, and frankly, there's an election in a year, and there might be a new mayor at that time.
That's true.
Well, and the fire chief does directly, so the mayor does supervise the fire chief. Chad is there, has regular one-on-ones, but it's not
Yeah, so
reported directly to the mayor.
there's essentially, like you said, your top elected official directly supervises the fire chief and the police chief. But on a day in, day out operational basis, that's, like I had my monthly meeting with Chad today, because I have to keep him advised of the operations of the department, budgetary type of things and that, so, yeah. I mean, I do meet with Chad, but I don't report directly to Chad. Right now, I directly report to the mayor.
I feel that this adds a challenge to our process, that now we have to figure out a solve. If we go this route with those, okay, maybe they're not necessarily a formal interview with the mayor, but those one-on-one meetings with the candidates, now we have to solve for how do we get Chad in the mix in a very effective way, because as you just kind of pointed out, Chief, in a dotted line type of way, you do report out to the city administrator, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, it's important because, like I said, operationally throughout the day, I mean, you know, his title's administrator, but I'm meeting with him both administratively and operationally. So it's very important that I keep him, you know, up to date on, you know, what's happening in the fire department. And then, you know, forward thinking on, you know, here's the next steps, you know, over the next month on what we're trying to achieve, and then also, you know, budgetary concerns.
yeah, so I don't want to do a dishonor to the city administrator in order to solve one, we create another problem.
It just kind of goes into that, I have an open door policy where a lot of leaders have. If you want to come in and talk to me, come on in, and we're stopping it at the initial intake. You can't do it now, but later you can come in. It could kind of seem like the role is diminished a little bit, because it's not like because I want it, let's do it. I feel it would be helpful for me to have that one-on-one with the person, and the mayor is expressing, you know, in areas, and then I can see what you're saying about the other piece, that this is important, and this is an important decision to do that. And I think, I just, you know, it's a few minutes, it's a conversation. You know, if we're having an issue with the mayor doing it by themselves, what is that issue? Is it something you think the mayor is going to do to keep that from happening? Because it almost seems like if we won't allow it, then there's some reason why we're not allowing it, you know, for just a meet and greet. You know, here's an authority, and, you know, I can come directly to that authority to have this conversation, to present myself, you know, how do you respect this type of authority, you know, one-on-one, or how are you acting in front of other people? You know.
The mayor role is a part-time role, right, in our city? And Chad's a full-time employee. I think that's relevant too. And then to Brian's point, we'd have to work, we should work Chad into the process,
Yes.
the city administrator into the process.
Yes.
I would rather have more time for the firefighters to meet with these 8 candidates other than 30 minutes than fitting 30 minutes of Chad Brecklin's time into the process to kind of accommodate. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess, where do we go from here? Sean is not here, Commissioner Baxter is not here. I guess we can talk
So
about
we
this
have
next
4, we
week.
don't have 5, we don't
Right.
have an odd number to
We can
vote.
still have on the schedule some type of meet and greet, but we don't necessarily have to indicate if it's just with the mayor and Chad or just the mayor. And then we can decide at our 12th meeting, or not 12th, next week's meeting.
Next one.
Take
I think that's
action.
probably best. Does that make sense for folks? Any other thoughts for tonight?
There's just something that I want to say, because I'm thinking about this, and then I'm thinking about tonight. I mean, this meeting happened because I felt like we weren't trusting the process from the beginning. So last month when we had the meeting, there was talk about wanting to meet with the panelists that were voted to review these applications and to score these applications, and we were to trust them. And then we had this meeting today to sit with them and listen and see how they scored and why they scored. You know, it just, to me, it feels like there was not that trust. So I'm feeling, once again, we're not trusting the mayor in this process. It's just something I had to say. I'm just thinking about our today and now this letter.
Okay, I'll add it to the agenda for next week. Perfect. And then the other thing we need to finalize is the public reception location. So we just need to kind of get the word out about that. There's a few locations that I put out to the team. Fire Station 1, which holds 75 people. Fire Station 2, which holds 50. We had, there's Aldo Leopold School, Redeemer Church. Redeemer Church is on a bus line, so every 30 minutes there's a bus coming through. And then there's also Latino Chamber. But that is all I have for possible location. So just kind of curious from the commissioners, do you have an ideal location that you would like to see? And then we can finalize that. For those that can attend in person, it will be recorded by FACTv, and then maybe we can even have something live if maybe we can try to get some participation. I gotta talk to FACTv about that first, but at least it's gonna be recorded, so.
In your experience, what do you think is best for that type of, you doing that?
Well, when we did for police chief, we were on King James Way at the Painters Union, and so we were near a bus line. So, we wanted it to be a place that was accessible for the community.
So it's more accessibility than what the.
Yeah, so it's like why we wouldn't
location is.
typically hold it here at City Hall, it's just because we're not near a bus line.
Is Fire Station 2 is there a bus line on McKee Road?
I called Metro Transit and talked to them, and after hours, there's not, and you
stop.
still have to walk, so it's kind of a ways from.
Yeah, I was thinking something on Fish Hatchery, because that B bus is every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
And
I
it
asked
goes
about the
from
Mainstays
Cadence to-
Hotel or one of those hotels in the area by Qdoba and Panera over there, but it doesn't come on a regular basis.
It doesn't.
The bus.
The B comes every 15 minutes. I ride it every day.
At nighttime though?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
sisters I spoke to
I
at
go
Metro
to
Transit was like,
Overture, I go to Monona Terrace, because I'm a little cheap on parking. So I can get my friends to kind of bring me home or bring me to the bus stop.
Do you know what number is that bus?
B,
It's just called
that's
B.
the Metro train, yeah.
Alright.
That's the mass transit, the fast.
And that would get you to the hotels over there in that area?
That's where I
'Cause that
park.
would be an ideal
I park
location
right
for
on
the
the-
candidates who
right on
have to
Cadence.
spend the night, then they can just come on down from their room
Yep.
and be part of the public reception.
Do we have time between now and next week to investigate that, do you think?
It doesn't seem like it's that busy. And then the other one is right by Pick and Save, that's another hotel right there.
Yeah,
We used to vote there.
is it Courtyard?
Wyndham,
No,
Wyndham.
no.
Yeah,
Tuscany restaurants opening back up, I've heard.
yeah, I haven't been there yet. Oh, we're in open.
So those might be 2 locations. I'll look into I'll contact them and
Yeah.
just see if they have an available
Yeah.
room for us.
That's-
Okay.
Is there value in having it at a fire station?
I thought that would be nice too.
There's trade-offs.
But do
Yeah.
The
the
problem is
space.
the bus line shut down past there,
Yeah.
what is it, 5 or 6
Yeah.
o'clock?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember the exact time, but
65, 75, yeah.
Yeah, that's ideal, but then you don't have the transit option.
Yeah, parking is $14 a day in the city, so that's why I ride the bus.
Okay, so maybe check out those options.
absolutely, I can let you know if they're available.
Sounds good.
That was the last detail to finalize. We'll talk about the actual process of the public reception next week.
Okay.
All right, well then agenda item number 6 is announcements. Any announcements? Okay, agenda item number 7 is adjournment. Any motions?
Motion that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
I move.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.